Hey everyone, welcome back to the Branding for Abundance podcast. My name is Dr. TK. I am your host, and I am a clinical psychologist and the #1 therapist business coach. So if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I want to welcome you. The audience that I actually cater to is mental health professionals all over the globe. And I am the proud owner of the Dope Therapist Academy and the Elite Coaching Mastermind, where I teach therapists how to grow and scale profitable businesses so that they can create the lifestyle of their dreams and live an abundant lifestyle. So today is a big deal. So for my returning listeners, as you know, I like to blend business and lifestyle. And one of the things that I did after our recent Dope Therapist Academy launch at the end of June is I surveyed the audience, specifically those people who did not enroll, and I wanted to know what was preventing them from enrolling. And some of the main things that came up is blockages in their money mindset, wealth mindset, not believing that they're ready, not believing that they're going to have enough time to put in the work to see the outcome of the program, and so many more. But the common denominator was mindset. So what I've decided to do is put together an abundance series in which I will be talking about things like wealth mindset, becoming the business owner that you were destined to be, if that is your chosen path. And as usual, make sure that you have your pen and paper, because I'm going to give you some things to think about. If you need to, pause this episode, take notes, and then journal on the prompts later. So I am a believer as a therapist myself that therapists deserve the best of both worlds. And so that means that they deserve to have a profitable career, a profitable business if they choose, and also a profitable lifestyle. It should never be where a therapist feels like they have to choose one or the other, because a lot of the times we're pretty much trained as therapists to give. And at what point, do you actually pause and give to yourself? So that's what we're going to get into for the next few episodes. And so again, make sure you have your pen and paper, and let's go ahead and dive in. So I want to take you all the way back. And this is a question that I tend to ask therapists when they're featured on my podcast. And the question that I want you to think about, or the prompt, is why did you become a mental health therapist? Why did you choose psychology? Think about it. What did you even want to be when you grew up? So for example, I knew that I always wanted to work with people. I always wanted to help people. I really wanted to become a pediatrician. That's a whole nother story. But at the end of the day, I still wanted to serve children and their families. So after me going to school and of course taking the general educational requirements, I realized that the medical track did not align with where I was. But I did recognize that there was a particular subject that did not come fairly easy to me. It felt more philosophical, and that was psychology. And what I did, even if it wasn't the prompt of the professors to do this in our papers, is that I chose to look at each topic that I learned about in psychology and apply it to myself. I learned how to look at my family through a different lens so that I can better understand, not diagnose, family members. And what it really did is it increased my empathy for my caregivers, for my parents, for my grandparents, to really understand why they are the way that they are. So think about, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were younger? And then how did you end up going into the psychology field? So another thing to think about is, what made you want to help people? Now, what I have found in my 17 plus years of being a college professor, from community colleges all the way up to the doctoral level, is that when we have very intimate conversations in the classroom and on an online environment with my students, there is also a common denominator with majority of their responses, which is they've experienced something on, a personal side in their life, and they want to be able to help people maneuver through whatever chaos or trauma that was that they experienced, because they have overcame certain experiences in their life. And I believe that that is the truth for a large percentage of mental health therapists, where you either saw things, you experienced things, you process through it, you cleared out your baggage, and then you want to help people do the same without necessarily disclosing what you've been through if you choose. And so think about what made you want to help people. Maybe even think about what did you want to avoid becoming? That's actually the opposite of the helping people question. Sometimes we don't want to sit down and own that we want to help the old version of ourselves. And so maybe think about it this way. Did you have someone in your life as you were growing up? Did you experience anything and you said, I will never be like this. I will never treat my kids like this. I will never talk to anyone like this. I will never treat anyone like this based off of what you observed, whether it was to you or to someone else. So therefore, really think about your niche. Who did you seek out in terms of who you are serving right now? And can you link it to a previous story from your past? Okay. So throughout your journey as a human being, as a man or a woman, what has your journey throughout your life taught you? Because I believe that throughout that journey, you have or you should be working on defining your purpose. And so I look at purpose as what is your big impact that you want to not only make in the world while you're here, but also you want to leave to the world when you're gone. And some people frame that in the phrase of generational wealth. And wealth does not have to just be monetarily. It can also be time. It can be knowledge and wisdom. It can be things, it can be homes, it can be businesses. But what type of impact beyond yourself do you actually want to make in the world to be able to help maybe your ideal clients? And think about your purpose really, really on a larger magnitude. Take a moment to think big. We're talking about your legacy. One of the reasons why I actually love doing content on podcasts and on video, YouTube, and on social media is because even when I am not here, my children will be able to listen to my podcast to see the impact that their mother made in the world. They will be able to go back and watch videos as it relates to career tips, as it relates to abundant living, and as it relates to lifestyle with them in it, so that they can really see a documentary of how they grew up and how I chose to give them the best of both worlds. Okay, so think about your purpose bigger than you, because sometimes we get so focused and narrow-minded about what we need to check off of our list, what we need to pay for today, what we need to pay off in 20 years and in 30 years, like a home, a car, or a student loan. But what type of impact are you actually making right now that's going to create a ripple effect, a domino effect years from now? So that people can actually look at you and say, wow, I knew her. I knew him. I am so honored that they were my friend. I am so honored that they were in my family. I'm so honored that that was my mom. That's the vision that I see. Okay. So it has to go beyond money. Purpose goes deep, deep inside in terms of you internally with how you also feel about giving. It reminds me of tithing at church. I don't tithe and expect that my higher power will automatically give me 10 times something back. I tithe because that's something that I was taught to do. And then, yes, in the Bible, you will get things back, and it may not come back in a monetary fashion. But I know that anything that I need, I can always depend on my higher power to come through in divine timing. Okay? So think about your purpose beyond you to make a bigger impact. Okay. So as we look at the definition of wealth, because again, we're going to maneuver into this abundance series, but this session today, this episode today is really going over the overview of abundant living. Okay. So what is wealth? Wealth can be how much money is in your bank account, how much money is in your investment portfolio. But we also want to think a lot bigger than that. When you look at wealth, you want to look at time. You want to look at life experiences. You want to look at how do you feel every day waking up? Do you wake up thriving to be 1% better than what you were yesterday? So this is something that I share with my Dope Therapist Academy community and our elite coaching students, which is every day is a new day, similar to a behavioral chart that children have when they're in school, and maybe heck, we even create for our own family members as teenagers and adults in our house with chores and household responsibilities. But at the end of the day, we always start children back on green, regardless if they did not have a good day the day before, because what are we teaching them? That every day you can be better than what you were today. So I challenge you to actually look at, based off of when you're listening to this episode, how are you today? How did you show up as your best self today or not? And how can you be better tomorrow? So it doesn't have to be business related. It can be health related. I realized that as I started journaling in a 90-day journal that I purchased on Amazon, I realized that there was a common denominator when I was working in my home more versus when I was out. I realized that I would always eat breakfast. I would eat lunch anywhere between 11 and 2. And then I would eat dinner at a cool time, but I realized I was not consuming enough water. And it's really interesting because I also associate not drinking enough water to not having the right water bottle. So I noticed that when I would drink out of my 64-ounce water bottle, or at least my 32-ounce water bottle, and just fill it up one more time, I would actually consume the amount of water that I put on my vision board in terms of helping me clear up my skin, flush out my body, and just feel healthy, versus me trying to drink a cup at a time because I would never refill it. So that may be on the minimal level, but you can also create an intentional goal for yourself to be 1% better tomorrow by maybe waking up 30 minutes earlier, moving your body in the morning, doing prayer if you're spiritual, journaling, meditating, listening to a positive podcast, tapping into what do you want in terms of looking at your vision board? And so from the definition of wealth, looking at your time, looking at the lifestyle that you want, and really creating the lifestyle that you deserve, you want to create 3 intentional tasks a day, up to 3 intentional tasks. So I've already mentioned one. One can be health related. One can be business related. One can be kids related, especially if you want to make it part of your daily habits. So intentions are very different than a to-do list. So intentions are something, I believe, this is how I've conceptualized it in my mind to make it work better with my day and also differentiate it from task. So I look at my intentions as, what are my big goals? What are my goals for my business and for my personal life in the next 12 months to the next 5 years? And how can I be the 1% better Dr. TK every day, working toward the things on that vision board? So then I'm going to have to break them down probably into SMART goals. So one of them last year was to create 100 podcast episodes. So I chose to look on Google, calculate how many more weeks are there left, and then divide it into how many podcasts I have left. And that told me I needed to create 3 podcast episodes a week to hit 100. So every day I woke up, I asked myself, what's one thing that I can do better, at least at 1%, to go toward my 100 podcast goal? And that was a mixture of things depending on the day. One day it may mean exploring ideas, surveying my audience on Instagram to see what they want to learn about. What do they want to hear about? Then maybe another day I sit down and I plan it out for my team on my project management board. Then on another day, I can take 2 podcast episodes and write out my my scripts, in which I do in bullets. And then maybe the next day, I'll actually record. Okay. So what you can see is that every day I am doing something small, because you got to start somewhere. Just start though. I chose something small to work toward the bigger goal. And what that will do is have the compounding effect every single day, where the end goal will be reached a lot quicker because I'm choosing to work on it every single day, but I'm not stressing myself out. So really ask yourself, are you being intentional with what you're choosing to work on every day to become the next best version of you, which is usually that person on your vision board? And if you don't have a vision board, there's a previous podcast episode. I'll make sure to link it up in the podcast show notes. But I have 2 episodes that break down the benefits of a vision board, what you can put on a vision board. And then I even take you on a Canva tutorial to show you how I made the vision board. And for the visual aspect of that, that will be hosted right here on YouTube, because on my podcast, you can only hear the audio of me describing what individuals would see on YouTube. But make a vision board for yourself. It's not too late. Depending on when you're watching this video, whether it be in the beginning, middle, or the end of the year, make a 30-day vision board. Heck, make a 7-day vision board. What do you foresee is going to be the outcome of the week that you're currently in? Claim it. It's already done. Okay. So after you've created the vision board, if that's something that you choose, and it can be on paper, it can be on your computer, because in that Canva tutorial, I show you how to make one for your cell phone and for your desktop so that you can see it every day, is look at the vision board every day you wake up and ask yourself, how can I take one thing off this vision board today and apply it to my life to get 1% better and closer to becoming the best version of me? Okay. So in summary, what we've talked about today is, why did you become a therapist? Tapping into your history. What purpose do you have to give back to the world? That then led into the second half, which is talking about abundance, talking about wealth, talking about what you want to leave behind, generational legacy, and generational wealth. And after you've decided what you want to do, or even if you're not that clear, but you have some type of idea, now you can wake up every day after you've created some type of visual stimuli, like a vision board. You can ask yourself, what do I need to do today to be get 1% closer to the person on my vision board? Okay. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this podcast episode. I do have one favor for you. If you have enjoyed this episode and you like the information that's presented, I want you to comment below. What is your biggest takeaway? What do you want to do? Do you want to go watch the tutorial on Canva vision boards? Do you really want to sit down and determine what is your purpose? Did you really tap into, wow, I really wanted to become X when I was a kid, and I landed here, whether it matched or didn't match? Think about that journey. How did you get to the place where you are now? Because that's what we expect out of our therapy clients. So make sure that you comment below, follow my channel on the podcast and on YouTube so that I can continue to create, of course, this phenomenal content for you. And also let me know, what other topics do you want to hear about in terms of abundant living and having or balancing the best of both worlds as it relates to career and business in the mental health field and also in your lifestyle. Okay. So share this episode with any therapist that you know would benefit from this topic. As I mentioned, the next few episodes will be on abundance series. So we're going to be talking about a mixture of mindset, wealth, business, and lifestyle. And if you want to receive weekly affirmations to continue that 1% compounding effect, then you can text me. Yes, text me at 310-388-8603 and text the word abundance. Okay. Abundance. And we'll make sure to provide you with the number and the word, of the affirmation list in the show notes. Okay. So I will see you in the next episode. Until then, bye.